Hello, we're 21 Pilots, and you're watching the AU review.
It's second time this year, or was it how long ago was it? I can't even remember now.
We were here in January for a few weeks, I think. Um, so it was
It's like
crazy
with the Paramore.
with Paramore.
That's right. Yeah.
But it was summertime here, and it was kind of like the worst, coldest part of the year, where in Ohio, where we're from. So that was nice. Now it's summer there and winter here. Probably just because it's two opposite sides of the world. I don't really know science, but that probably has something to do with it.
And this is a particularly cold day for us, so I'm sure you're not too upset about our winter here. It's not
It's still
terrible.
warmer than like the sleet and the ice and the snow that happens in Ohio. So.
Winter is coming.
Nice. Well,
Game of Thrones.
Yeah. There you go. Well,
I inferred.
when you're traveling, like, can you keep up with the show like Game of Thrones when you're on tour? Do you get people, do you download the episode as you go, or do you see
I haven't really got into Game of Thrones, but I find that when on the road, it's easiest for me to watch TV series and things. I think last tour I watched maybe like all 9 seasons of the X-Files. Again, I'll probably watch it again at some point.
Had you already watched all 9 before?
Yeah, I watched it all in high school.
Yeah.
That was a show that I loved.
What do you relearn from the X-Files in a rewatching?
Well, I learned for the first time that it's not that scary. Like in high school, I don't know what it was. Maybe just like sleeping in my parents' cold, dark basement and like watching it before bed. There's something pretty eerie about that. But I don't know. I guess putting some different things together, like the X that Mulder puts on his window with masking tape is kind of like calling the special dude, who kind of like who's like this like inside guy who gives him information on things that he needs to know. It's a kind of a interesting character.
Winter is coming.
Excellent input. Well, you have been on the road pretty much non-stop this year. It's tell us some of the highlights, I guess, since you were last here with the Paramore shows.
Trying to think. We were here in January for the Paramore, and then we were in Europe for a month, and then we went back to America and did a spring tour, Spring in America. And that was good. And then we've really been doing kind of mostly festivals in the summer, which is really fun for us because festivals are really fun, and they're just kind of the type of shows that we would watch on the internet or on TV, and kind of learned a lot of things about a live show when we started playing music. So then being a part of them is kind of exciting, and you go over to Europe, whether it's like England or Scotland or France or Belgium, and playing these festivals and kind of being on these stages that we saw other bands on. Yeah, it's kind of like it's like an interesting feeling that's really fun.
Yeah. Well, it certainly is, and I mean, as you get to play, as each month goes by, you're getting to do kind of bigger shows and add more production to what you're doing as well. I assume you wouldn't been able to bring everything you do down to Australia, but what have you been doing over the summer at these festivals? Have you been able to do some special things at the shows?
Yeah, well, some of the stuff that we do, we find that certain security or stage managers don't really like, because it's dangerous for some reason or another, which no, it's not, first of all. But we that's been kind of our major challenge is some of these like stunts, as we call them.
What's an example of
one of them? Well, Tyler likes to climb.
When you describe the stunt, it sounds extremely dangerous.
It sounds like Tyler will a lot of these stages are just kind of like bigger stages with the truss that goes pretty high. So a lot of times Tyler will climb all the way to the top of that, But you got to
But it's
understand,
not-
he's a good climber. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
I'm really,
like,
like,
he's got a
when
great background in climbing.
You bring up the climbing, but like, you play a drum set on top of people.
That's one that we've also run into issues. We have there's like a platform with kind of drums that are we've put it together in a way that we feel is pretty secure. Everything's kind of like bolted down to the board and in a way to where, you know, people aren't going to be like stabbing themselves when they're holding it, you know, from a piece of screw coming through the wood.
I've seen photos of it. It looks wicked.
Yeah, it's fun to do, and I think it's like, you know, we truly come from a place from the very beginning where we kind of are just like, we need to capture people's attention, and so these things that we do, first of all, make the show a little bit more interesting for us, and fun to do, but also is hopefully grabbing people's attention and them kind of saying, oh, I haven't seen this before, or I haven't seen this very often. And but then the problem is sometimes these stage managers haven't seen it before either, and that scares them.
And sometimes Josh will play set with his shirt off, which is probably one of the more dangerous stunts we do because it just distracts everyone from doing their job, and you know, you can imagine what would happen.
You should wear a shirt that just says "Put it away."
Put it away.